All right. We are good to go.
Are we live?
We are.
Good. So maybe I'll start this thing out. You want me to, Justin?
Yeah, yeah. We can go ahead
Okay.
and jump into it.
All right. So thanks everybody for watching today. We have a very interesting show about bearded dragons. Um, my name is Michael Houtsager, and I'm the owner of Premium Crickets and Reptiles Express. We have Justin on with us, and he's going to be our host. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you. Hey, Mark. Good to see you. And we are interviewing Ian Miller. Ian Miller is a 21-year-old up and coming bearded dragon breeder, and I just found out that 100 years ago he bought crickets from me at the ReptiCon Greenville show, and that's why I don't recognize him because when he was 12, he didn't have that beard.
Oh
So
yeah.
So what I want to do first, this is a third one we show that we've done. I want to tell everybody what is ReptiCart because I forgot to do that last time. How you doing, Yamil? Oh, Carolyn Sutton. How you doing, Carolyn? So let's talk about what's ReptiCart, and then Justin, I'm going to turn it over to you to sort of do the discussion about Ian's bearded dragons.
Okay.
ReptiCart started about a year ago when COVID hit and all the reptile shows got shut down. Billy Healy, who is the owner of Repticon, called me up and said, we need to figure out something to do because I have no shows and nothing to do. At that time, I was actually quite busy because everybody was shipping animals. So we figured that what we're going to do is come up with a way for the small people, say like Ian, who doesn't want to put a website together. Maybe they're on Morph Market or something like that, but they want to sell their animals online and then actually have something simple so that the shipping is already calculated for them. And then we created that with ReptiCart. Now, the good thing about ReptiCart is like Ian, you could put your bearded dragon up there for sale for say $300. We don't get a commission. Billy and I decided we're not going to get a commission off of this. What we're going to try to do is use this as our leverage of just we have hundreds of thousands of people who get our emails and who
Yeah.
follow us on Facebook and YouTube and all that. So we have a lot of people that we can funnel to you guys. And our goal really is to make you successful. We want people to know who is Ian, get to know him, develop a relationship with him, and buy his dragons. And if that happens, then Ian he buys more Reptiles Express shipping labels, and he goes to more Repticon shows. So that's the benefit for us. That's why we're doing it. And in the future, there's a lot of things we're working on in the digital space, which I'll talk about that on a later show, but that will probably fold into here with the whole digital collectibles as part of this thing that we do together. So that's what, hey, Hollis, my Beardy is my office pet. I love that one. And I love this StreamYard thing because it's sort of cool. People can, I'm reading comments right here. So far, so good. And it's a great way for us all to interact together. Thank you, Josh. Just left Greenville. Had a great weekend. And little Mike was there. Michael Arnold representing Premium Crickets. And maybe we could just start out here. Justin, you're going to get in, but I'd like to hear from Ian because Ian went to the Repticon show this weekend. How was it?
It was fun. The Greenville one's probably my favorite one out of all the local ones that I go to.
That's Greenville, South Carolina, right?
What was that?
Greenville, South Carolina. Some people may not know where that is.
Yeah, Greenville, South Carolina, right about an hour and a half south of Charlotte, southwest of Charlotte.
And what do you like about that show?
I, so I like the bigger shows like Charlotte and Raleigh and Columbia, but Greenville, that was my first one I ever went to. It was also where I bought my first second dragon from. First one was from PetSmart, so I guess you count it, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Then yeah, it's just like the smaller, like where it's a smaller show, it's kind of slow. It's really fast, but at the same time it's slower, so you get to interact more with the people and actually have a chance to talk to them.
Okay, so your first show was ReptiCon, Greenville, South Carolina,
Yeah, way back
right?
in 20.
Way back.
Yeah, that was back in 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013. Yeah, so it's been a while.
Okay. And you bought your first dragon there.
Yeah.
And you got hooked, right?
Oh yeah, I was all in. And I got
You
that
were all
first.
in it.
I was all in.
Okay. I know a lot of people like that. Okay, Justin, I'm going to turn it over to you because you are the smooth interviewer. And then I'll just chime in every now and then.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. So if anybody knows me, they know that I'm more of a snake guy. So when it comes to most lizards, I'm fairly clueless as far as like morphs and sort of how people are keeping them and stuff nowadays. But I mean, you're getting into, I guess we could start at the beginning, but you getting into reptiles, sort of your current focus, how you came to get to Beardies over other stuff. What was the original sort of what led you in that direction to start with Beardies?
So way back when I was in elementary school, like second, third grade, we used to live in Virginia, so there was a local pet shop up there. They got some green iguanas in, no bigger than that big, right at a 12 inches. So I was sitting there and I told my parents that I wanted one, because my cousins live in Florida, so I'd go down there and I'd catch the little animals and stuff running around and snakes and turtles and everything. And so I saw the iguanas and I was like, well, I want one of those. So I did kung fu at the time in elementary school. So my mom said that if I got my green belt in kung fu, she'd get me an iguana. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get an iguana. So I was sitting there, going there every day and whatever. And I got my green belt, and then I got the iguana, and then I had it for probably about a year. And this was back in like 2006, 2007. And so I was like watching videos and stuff on it, like little documentaries and stuff on iguanas and reading all about them and stuff. And it said that they like to swim. So I was like, all right, I got a pool. I'll take it into the pool. And
they swim fast.
Oh yeah, it was gone. I was like, all right, well, can't take it outside anymore. So yeah, I had the iguana and everything. It died. Just me being 8 years old, not really,
Been there.
You know how it is. So I had that, and then time went on and everything. I'd still always been interested in the reptiles and all that, so I was still looking at stuff, saying I want to get this one day, or I want to get frilled dragons one day, or big water monitor one day, or something like that. Never really thought about the dragons until I saw the movie Holes.
Yeah.
with the venomous dragons in there, and I was like, all right, those are pretty cool. And I went into PetSmart and then saw them in there. First time I really looked at them, and I was like, those are things from Holes.
Yeah.
So I told my parents that I was like, hey, I want a dragon. They're like, all right, well, how about the end of the summer? We'll get you one. I was like, okay. So all summer and all that, I was doing chores and stuff back when I was like 12, 13, doing chores all summer, saving up for it. Well, at the end of summer, got the dragon, and then had him for about seven years, and then the 6 months after that, that's when I saw this thing called ReptiCart, and I was like, what's that? And then I saw what it was, and I was like, well, we're gonna go to that, of course. So we went to it, and then that's where I met you, Michael, and then I met Lynn with Carolina dragons. I met her. That was where I got my first like actual dragon with morphs and stuff in it. Special dragon.
Yeah.
So that was where I got mine first, like breeder quality dragon. Saw all the animals I had there, and then after that, I was like 100% hooked. I was already hooked before, but that was like what got me.
Was there something in particular with Beardies that made you decide you wanted to breed those and sort of go in that direction?
I just liked all the like this. It got to a good size to where it was manageable, but at the same time, it wasn't small like a leopard gecko. I didn't want anything really small. Like I've got leopard geckos and crested geckos and stuff now. Tons of geckos now, but you know, you always get into everything else. But like they got to a good size to where I was like, hey, I got for me, a big lizard, but
yeah,
before the water monitors and stuff. Yeah, they just, you know, a 21-inch lizard seems like a pretty decent sized lizard to most people. So like, you know, you're at school and stuff, and you show them pictures, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. I mean, that's a question that I'm sure you get a lot. Is, you know, what's a good starter lizard or starter snake and stuff. And I'm always of the opinion that it's completely dependent, sort of on your lifestyle. Like if you're living in an apartment, obviously you're not going to keep something massive. You know, if you got the space and you got a spare room, obviously you're not going to want to just have, you know, a leopard gecko or something. So those kind of, you know, I guess fit the bill to where if you are in an apartment, that they work. You know, if you have the spare space in the house, they work. We did have a question too. Is a bearded dragon a good pet to have if I have 2 older chihuahuas and an 8-year-old boy?
Good question.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on like what Justin said with your lifestyle and everything. If y'all have more of like a on the go type thing, you probably want to go more towards leopard gecko just because they've got the big fat tails, so they can hold their weight for a while without worrying. But I mean, it's like you want to go on vacation for a week, put water in there, make sure the hide's humid, and throw a good amount of mealworms in there, and they'll be good until you come back. I mean, you don't want to do that every single week, but you know, for 1 week it won't matter. But like the dragons, like where they need the heat and the UVB, and you got to have maintain the certain basking spot and all that. They're not as attentive as like monarch stuff and chameleons and all that, but you definitely got to keep on top of them, especially the adults. When they poop, they'll freak out and they'll run through it and splatter all over the cage. So if you let it go too long, it can get out of hand. So if you're willing to put the time into it, they're definitely worth it.
So how are your like when you have someone buying a baby, sort of how do you prefer to keep yours from hatchling through adult? Because they're so popular, I'm sure there's an absolute ton of information, or I know there's a ton of information on the internet about them. And I know for a lot of people it can kind of be hard to know what's accurate and what's not, you know, what's current, what's outdated. So, I mean, as far as keeping them at the various stages, how do you keep yours?
So when the babies first hatch out, I keep them in the incubator right after they hatch out of the egg. I keep them in the incubator for 24 hours just so they can get acclimated to the weather outside of them. Just to make sure they get, you know, ready for the weather outside of the eggshell. So after 24 hours, I've got a rack over here that's it holds 12 56 quart tubs, and I've got 4 foot UVB strips with 3 heat heat bulbs on each one. So it's 3 tubs, 4 rows, and I've also got.
Is that right beside you?
What was that?
Is that right beside you? Can you show it from your camera?
Yeah, it's kind of messy right now because I just got done unloading everything. But so that's
your setup.
Yeah, that's the rack over there. Like, so I don't have all the tubs with me right now because I'm doing everything. So
this is professionally produced, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah, straight off the iPad. So that's what it is. Everything's getting redone. I'm trying to kind of move away from that and keep everything in melamine enclosures, just because I like the way they hold the heat better, and it doesn't make the room as hot. So yeah, I'll hold the babies in those until they're about. I'll do 5 babies in each tub until they're about 2.5, 3 months old, depending on how fast they're growing. Then I move them over to all those that are over in the corner.
Mhm.
Those are they're equivalent to the 20 gallons.
Hey, Ian, did you make those cages?
So I've made all these white cages behind me.
Nice.
There's 9 of them. I made
Wow.
all those myself, and then
What material did you use?
melamine.
Melamine. Okay, and
Yeah.
you cut them and put them together.
Yeah.
Wow, good job.
So I'll do all that. But these brown ones, they
Mhm.
came from Lynn. Those
Wow.
her old style cages. She originally had them made from I think it came from Boa Master.
Okay.
So yeah, they're old school cages, but I mean they still work perfectly fine. So
Is
after
Lynn
about
is Lynn still selling bearded dragons?
oh yeah,
Or
I've got
is she retired? I haven't
4.
seen her.
Yeah, she doesn't do the shows much anymore. She just does. She'll go to Thailand for like 6, 7 months, come back with a bunch of babies. She only has like four pairs of adults now. The rest is just what she brings back from Thailand because she's real good friends with the breeders over there.
Okay.
So the babies, after 2.5 to 3 months old, they'll go into the equivalent of the 20 gallons.
Mhm.
And when they're in there, that's when I'll start putting them up for sale around the 3.5 to 5 month range, all in that span, except for some of the adults, but like my holdbacks and stuff. But after they get to about this guy's size, this is one of the guys from Thailand that I got. So until they're about this size, that's when they'll go into these the bigger 3 foot by 2 foot cages. But yeah, he's a hypotrans from.
That's nice.
He's one of the ones from Thailand, and
So
these are
that's
the
a
first time.
hypotrans. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about leatherbacks, and there was another question.
Oh yeah, the one about the silkbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
silk
Yeah.
and leather. Do you have any of those at all?
So I don't have any leatherbacks or sorry silkbacks because they're just like there's a pain. I shouldn't say a pain. They're just require a
They're-
lot more attention.
Yeah.
You got to like lubriderm them every day, give them.
Oh, there's like scaleless. Is that kind of
the scaleless
Okay.
ones. I do have
So
leatherbacks.
what's the attraction if they're that much work? Why does everybody want them?
I think just because it's something way different than what you see like a scaleless lizard. Like you're used to seeing normal scale bearded dragons all pokey and everything, and you see a lizard that doesn't have any scales on it whatsoever, and it feels like just like the side, like your arm right here, and they're just like, well, that's freaking weird. So me and
I know scaleless snakes are wildly popular,
Yeah.
currently, like scaleless ball pythons and scaleless corns and Texas rats and stuff.
Jerry says they're awesome though.
oh yeah, I've had 2 of them, and they're fun to keep. They're just like just for the amount of stuff that I have now, it's just kind of like it doesn't make sense and fit into my plans on
Yeah.
As a
I know
breeder.
I wouldn't be able to. Yeah, I know I wouldn't be able to give them the time of day because especially if you do a leatherback to a leatherback, and say you get a clutch of 30 eggs, 10 to 15 of those babies are gonna come out silkbacks. So you got to lubriderm 10 to 15 dragons every single day, give them a bath every single day, and I'm just like I don't have time for that.
Every day.
Every single day.
Wow.
A little high maintenance.
Oh, but I've got 1, 2, 3 leatherbacks right now, and
Can you take one out, Ian, and show it to everybody what it looks like? Justin, you may wind up with a leatherback bearded dragon one day.
I don't know. I was
So-
telling Ian I swore off things with legs. So
So here's a leatherback.
All right.
Like you can see, like even just like right through here, it's like just
Mhm.
like smooth all the way around. The tail doesn't have
Right.
the super big spikes on the head.
It's
The
beautiful.
head doesn't have the big spikes like on the beard either. This is the one that I've got up for sale on ReptiCart right now. This guy, he's a little
Okay.
stressed out, or not stressed out, but he sees all the females and stuff around here, so
All right. He's
he's not
happy.
too happy. Yeah, but
He's not happy.
he's really,
Okay.
yeah, he's really good dragon though.
You want to bring that screen up, Justin?
yep.
We're going to bring that screen up. This is on, if you go to ReptiCart.com and go to, I think this is on the home page, right?
Yes.
You're going to see from Caroline Royal Dragons, that bearded dragon that you just saw. So if you can actually go there and buy it, you're also going to pay for your shipping. And just, or Ian, did you put down there when you configured the shipping options only to ship to a hub, or do you ship to people's houses as well?
So I'll ship to both of them, but especially right now how everything's all wonky, especially from the weather the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I prefer if they want me to ship them to a hub.
Okay.
Just because if they go to the hub, then
It's
they're
safer.
not stuck on a FedEx truck and all.
Yeah.
It's just around.
So everybody watching, I mean, Ian is kind of new to all this as well as most people are. So when we actually developed the shipping software to configure shipping, how it worked, you can actually put it in there that you will only ship to a hub. And then when a customer buys, say, this dragon, they will have to put their zip code in on the ship to, and the list of different addresses or different hubs will appear, and they get to pick the hub that they're going to ship it to. So they'll pick the hub, and then Ian, you're just going to get the PDF of the shipping label to the hub. And
Okay.
the good news, I think you've got like 30 days or something like that the label's good for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they could buy it. You have the label, and then check the weather to make sure. The last 2-3 weeks have been terrible as far as shipping.
I was gonna ask if it's gotten any better lately. If it's starting to kind of clear out at the hubs.
This week looks good, but the last 3 weeks have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
And we have been telling most people not to ship, and we modified our software now to where when you create your shipping label, if we have a strong advisory not to ship, you'll see that in there. Because they went ahead and shipped anyhow, and then we're spending hours and hours and hours with FedEx trying to get your animal to move along. I'd rather you just not ship. It makes it easier for everybody. So
Catherine Briner asked, "Is it overnight shipping?" Which yes.
yeah, that's kind of the deal. We worked out a deal with FedEx. The reason why we're selling the labels is because FedEx doesn't want to deal with people like Ian too much. But so we buy the label from FedEx, and then Ian, that's what you get.
Okay.
And the deal was when you ship an animal, it's got to be in a white box. It's got to have 3/4 inch foam in the box, and it has have a certain crush test.
Yeah.
And then also all the fish and wildlife documentation has to be inside and outside the box. So when you create a label, that is generated, you just print it out and put it in and out. So all that hard work is done. And if there's an issue with the shipment, like Ian, you don't call FedEx, you call us. And then we deal with the issue. You're not going to get anywhere with FedEx. So that's how it works with us.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm shipping out this neon yellow male tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can pull him out if y'all want me to. Or
Yeah. I want to see it.
Yeah, he's also a leatherback. He's just a different. So there's like different types of leatherbacks. There's some that are. So there's this guy right here. He's a bright He's a hypotrans leatherback. He's
Hey,
got
so
big-
do you see that question? How do you know if it's male or female? You want to kind of show how you can tell
oh yeah. So
with that
what you'll do is you'll lift up the skirt. No, I'm just kidding. So
the kilt, the kilt.
but yeah, so you'll flip it up like this, and
Yeah.
then if you can kind of see, it's kind of hard to get it. So there's like two little bulges right there, like right there
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah.
So
See.
that's your male. That's the hemipenes. So that's
Mhm.
how you know it's a male. And then with the females, what you'll do is do the same thing, but when you lift it up, it's flat.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. So it's just flat, and they don't like it too much. Yeah.
Can't say I would either.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can sex them up to.
I was to say, what's the earliest that you're able to notice?
Some males.
I mean, you see like femoral pores.
Yeah, you do, but for the most part, the best way to tell is so you'll flip the tail up like that, and you'll take it like a flashlight, like a pin light or something.
Oh, okay.
And shine it through the back. And if you
Mhm.
see that, then that's the hemipenes. But if you don't see anything, it's just like kind of like just nothing there.
Yeah.
Then female, and I can do that when they're about questionably about a month, but accurately about 2 months old is like
Okay.
when you'll. That's when I'll guarantee the sex is about 2.5 months old, right in there.
Hard. Yeah. I know the answer. Are bearded dragons nocturnal?
No, no, they're sound asleep at night.
That's right.
So you showed that younger male earlier. At what point do you start to separate them? Like what age do you start to see like social issues with males sort of being aggressive towards one another?
So that first Thailand male that I showed y'all,
That red
right
one.
around that age is when I'll start separating everybody out. That's whenever you usually start to see everybody. Like the males will kind of start picking on each other. Females will be all right. I've had it back before. I did 2 females to one of these white enclosures, but I just figured it was. I don't know. I just didn't like it that much. So now every single dragon has one animal per enclosure except the juveniles and babies. But all the adults have an animal per an enclosure.
You're a good daddy.
Yeah. Then someone wanted to know, how do you know if a female's ready to breed?
So you want to wait with females. You want to wait 18 to 24 months old, and her be at least. Some people say 350 grams, but I wait until they're about 400. 400 seems like the right weight to where they've got enough, because they're going to lose a lot of weight when they drop the eggs.
Yeah.
So 400 grams, that gives them enough weight to where when they drop possibly 30, 35 eggs, they've got enough backup weight on them. They've got an extra 50 grams to where they can drop down to 350 grams and them still be at a good weight. I just feel like 300 grams for an adult female is just a little too small, but
just cutting it a little close.
Yeah, I mean everybody has their own thing, but I just like to play it safe.
Do you change their feeding around when they're pregnant with eggs?
Yeah, I up their feeding and their calcium intake when they're pregnant.
And for calcium, what do you use?
So with calcium, I use the Sticky Farms, the mineral.
Mineral, okay.
Yeah, this right here.
Is that with D3 or without?
This is indoor with the D3.
Okay.
The outdoor is the one that doesn't have the D3, but you want to do the D3 inside.
Okay. Yeah, I have that mineral. I sell it at shows, and I really have a hard. It's more expensive, but I have a hard time getting people to want to use it. I don't think they quite get it.
Really?
Why they? I mean, people like you. Yeah, but see, but what would be helpful, like all the rest of the people out there, a lot of you are breeders. Now some of you I know sell the mineral, but it'd be helpful when you do sell an animal to let them know that Sticky Fingers is really good stuff.
I've been
Compared
thinking
to just,
about like so.
why don't you stick that, put that up. So I want everybody to see it. There you go.
Sticky Tongue Farms mineral.
So that is the way to go. And that's the indoor stuff with D3.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have the outdoor, do you?
No, but y'all had it at the show this weekend. It was the red. This
Yeah.
is the yellow. The outdoor is the red, and then the one for the mice and stuff. That's the white one.
Right. Okay.
Didn't even know they made one for mice.
I didn't either until this weekend.
I breed
Yeah.
my own, so I might have to look into that.
Yeah, that's all I use is the Sticky Tongue Farms. Anywhere from monitors that I've got to Uromastics to dragons to leopard geckos, crested geckos.
It was $10. Each can was $10.
That's
And
not
now-
bad though for a can that size compared to some of the other companies. That's actually that's a better value. That's not that expensive.
6 ounce. That's a good
And,
size.
yeah. How long does that one can last for you?
So this is my. I mean, I've got a crap ton of animals. So one of these I'll go through in about.
Yeah.
I want to say 3-ish months. Every 3 months.
$10.
Yeah,
For
10
3
bucks
months
for
for a crap ton of animals. Yeah. I'm going to have to be a little more persistent, I think, and get people to buy it. I think so.
Now during the baby season, that goes up to about a can a month, especially when you're producing 300 plus dragons.
Still not much.
No, it's not bad at all.
What's a BTS? What is that?
Blue tongue skink.
Yeah.
Oh. Would you use that for a blue tongue?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know that they necessarily need it. That's why we need Casey Cannon because he's a big blue tongue guy.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Casey knows everything. Yeah. Where is he?
I know
Why
he
is he
feeds like cat food's a big part of their diet, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that has some sort of calcium in it. So I'm
Well,
not
you
sure.
would
Being a
think
snake guy, I could know.
Yeah, if you think you feed them cat food, you could give them some of that. So I don't know.
Put it in. Yeah.
Can they buy the mineral on the Premium Crickets website?
Yeah. We sell it on premiumcrickets.com. You can get it there. And just so you guys know, we are in Georgia, near Atlanta, sort of in between Atlanta and we're in Winder, in between Atlanta and Athens. So if you order Monday, you get it Tuesday or Wednesday. Can I give it to my sulcata?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know if you give with or without D3.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I don't
know
about that. Probably sprinkle it on their greens or their cactus pads or whatever.
Yeah, I know people.
Well, you're getting the minerals. So do you know why they call it sticky tongue?
Because it was originally made for chameleons.
Yeah. Have they got a Parsons chameleon on the front? Or not? It's not even a Parsons.
I was gonna say.
Funny. So, okay, this is funny. Most people don't know. I actually talked to the guy that invented it, and he's as old as me, if not older. And that's really old. But it was because he put something in it that sticks to the insect. Yeah. So it was there was some sticky substance to it.
Here we go.
That was the whole thing.
Nikki Hockaday said dog food is better, but they do need calcium. Smiley face.
Okay.
And then TK Billington had another question saying, do bearded dragons suffer from reduced skin shed?
Not sure what the reduced skin shed.
Maybe
are they talking
like
about
bad sheds?
I know the silkies do. They do for sure. They'll constrict the tips of their tails, tips of their toes. It's very rare that you're going to find a silky that has its full tail and all.
Oh, really?
All 20 toes, yeah.
Wow.
I've probably seen one in my all the years I've been doing. I've probably seen one that has everything.
I know that's usually like the bad spot is like the toes and stuff, and making sure you get that, because I've even had some snakes where they have some that lost the very, very tiny tip of their tail because there was a piece of stuck shed that you just couldn't see, and it sort of becomes almost like a tourniquet and just cuts off blood flow, and eventually it just gets necrotic and falls off. But
Yeah.
like even with cresteds, when I was breeding cresteds, getting some of that stuck shut off the toes was a real pain.
Oh yeah, sometimes those are pain. The leatherbacks and normal scales, no, and Dunners, those all those their sheds are, as long as you give them. I get my my dragons a bath once a week, and then I mist them, like give them a light misting once or every other day, and I spray their greens, so they're getting plenty of water throughout the week. And
so, hey Ian, you said something interesting. We may have a few people that are somewhat new to the concept of a bearded dragon. You said a dunner.
Yeah.
So we've talked about leatherbacks. We've talked about silkies. Now you said the word dunner. What is a dunner bearded dragon?
So, unfortunately, I don't have any dunners right now. I've sold all the dunners that I had just because they sell so
What makes
fast.
them great? What are they? Yeah.
So it's basically like a normal scale. The only difference is normal scales. They're here. Let me get her out. All right. So normal scales.
So Dunner, by the way, is the name of a person, right? Who created the first one?
Yeah, Kevin Dunn was the first guy to produce the Dunner. So I've talked to Kevin about it, and I've bought a few dragons from him, and he's got really good stuff. But
that's
so
pretty
the normal
too.
scales, like their scales will go in a uniform pattern back. Their scales are like straight up, this way, that way, sideways. They go all over the place. They're a lot more spiky than they're a lot more spiky than a normal scale bearded dragon.
A Dunner dragon is a lot more spikier, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
More dragony.
And
so if you wanted a bearded dragon named Spike, you're going to get a Dunner, right?
Oh, for sure. And you can also have leatherback Dunners, which is when you breed a leatherback to a Dunner, and those feel like sandpaper.
And is that just like a simple recessive or?
Yeah. So it's so if you're doing you do a leatherback to a normal scale, you'll get 50%. 50% of the babies will come out leatherback, 50% will come out normal scales, and then if you do a Dunner to a leatherback, you'll get. I didn't breed any Dunners last year, so I'm trying to remember if you'll do. I think you'll get 50% Dunners, 25% leatherback Dunners, and 25% normal scales. I think that's how it went. I can't remember. I haven't bred Dunners in probably 2 years now, so I can't remember how exactly that goes.
What's your favorite morph out of all of them? Not even necessarily stuff you have, but like what's
like scalation or like patterns or like hypos or translucent?
Color pattern, just whatever you morph wise. What is the one morph that you're into?
Definitely the tiger bars.
You got one?
Tiger bars you'll see blue stripes going down the side, like the leatherback male I've got posted for sale. He's considered a tiger because he's got the blue on the sides. But I've got one female on here that I just got from Blazing Dragons this week, and she's basically like a solid blue back. Like the only part that's not blue on her is right down the center of the back, and she's awesome.
That's cool.
I love that powdery blueness that they have is awesome.
I'll pull her out real quick. She's pretty great.
I don't even know how many morphs there are of Beardies at this point. Seems like they've come a really long way in a pretty short amount of time.
She's a little thin because she's a little stressed out and everything, just because she just got here. But anyways, so like her, basically all down the sides is just blue. All through there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she just got here, so she's a little stressed. She doesn't quite know what's going on yet.
He's ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then
so what size setups are you keeping the adults in, and what are you doing as far as lighting?
So for the adults, I've got them. All my adults are in 3 foot by 2 foot by 18 inches tall, custom built melamine cages. And then I've got a 22-inch T5 10.0 on all the adults, on the babies, on everything gets a 10.0. All the dragons do get the T5 10.0s.
Now
And
that's
then
for UV, right? Is the 10.0, that's for UV, right?
Yeah, it's the UVB.
UV.
And then
Yeah,
for my heat bulbs, and there where the melamine holds heat so good. So I'll go to Home Depot, and there's like these ceramic light fixtures. I've got some right here. These right here. So you'll just go to Home Depot. You'll get one of those, and a 12-foot extension cord, and you'll cut this big old thick end off right here. You'll cut that off, and then you'll wire it up to the inside of this. And then I just use a 45-watt heat bulb from Home Depot. It's just like a 45-watt bulb, and that gets their basking spot right up to. I like to keep mine anywhere from 105 to 115. It varies between each cage depending on which decoration I've got underneath the heat bulb.
What thermostat do you use?
Thermostat?
What thermostat do you use to measure the humidity and the temperature inside the cage?
So right now what I've got is one of these. You get these from, I forgot the name brand of it, but it's from Home Depot. It's from Walmart. It's called AccuRite.
Oh, you get one of those.
It's one of these right here. And it tells you the humidity, the heat, and everything. So like right now in this room, it's 84 degrees, so it's pretty toasty, and it's 20. It ranges anywhere from 25 to 35% humidity.
That's
and
all.
Do they get any heat at night, or you just cut them off and let them cool down?
No, I just cut them off. Where the melamine holds the heat so good, it
probably takes a while for it to really cool off completely.
Yeah, and I keep the overhead fan on all day, and it keeps it at around 84, 85 in here, which is what they like. Especially the Euros, they're low.
Oh, they're desert animals, so they don't need a lot of humidity, really. Low.
Well, that, and I mean, in their natural range, they're I can guarantee you they're experiencing some cooler than you would think temperatures at night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even sometimes at night, like if I think, especially whenever I'm brewmating the females and everything and kicking that off, like near the end of the year, I've got 2 windows, one on that side and one on that side, and I'll open both the windows at night when it's like 30 degrees here in South Carolina. And this room where it's so hot, it still keeps it warm, but it drops the temperature down in here to about 70.
Yeah.
And inside the enclosures, it drops it down to about 75. And the females sense that.
Yeah, that's enough of a dip to make something happen.
Yeah, and they just go down. They start. Okay, that was weird.
Hey, Ian, do you see that question from Allison? She's looking for like a lighter color bearded dragon. She said albino. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Yeah,
but
so there was a clutch of albino dragons in Australia back like in the early 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and from what I've heard, the guy who bred them, he had a clutch of them, and then it was in Australia. So the guy took the dragons outside, but he forgot that there was some guy came and sprayed pesticides, so the dragons and killed off both the adults and the baby. So
oh my god! So
if she's looking for something that's a lighter color, she'd be going with the hypo, right?
I've seen white ones, yeah.
Yeah, the white one, yeah. There's the white ones. Those are the hypotrans whites. Those are polars. Those are called the polars. Those are nice. I forgot what her name is, but she's upscale classic dragons. She produces really nice polars. Michael, I forgot to say his name. He does Cinderella dragons. He produced some nice polars last year.
Okay.
Very
but
nice.
You don't have any, right, Ian?
I don't have any of the whites or anything. Though I mainly focus on the tigers, the reds, and the neon citruses.
Cool. I love the
I like
reds.
the deep
Yeah.
reds.
Way
Yeah.
more morphs than I thought there was.
Yeah.
We just got started, my friend.
Oh yeah.
No
Like
idea.
one of the males I got from Thailand from Lynn.
Yeah.
He's such a deep red, and he's a hypotranslucent, but he's also a tiger. But something to do with how deep his red is, his blue bars are green.
Wow.
So, and I've never posted him online
Red
or
and
anything.
green.
He's still, I can
That's
pull
a
him
Christmas
out.
dragon. Ah,
Yeah,
you're
this
welcome.
is my-
All right.
So yeah, the bars are like
Yeah, kind of like a olive-ish.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
definitely weird. Like I'll grab a blue barker over here.
Can you believe Ian is only 21 years old?
It's what happens when you get addicted young.
Oh yeah. So this is what a normal blue bar is like.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Blue
Yeah.
going through there
Super cool.
versus him. So it's like
Wow.
I'm going to breed these two together. It's just like something different, you know. Where it's
Yeah.
like if he's that deep red passes on the green bars, that'll be something different. That'll be something cool to have.
So what are your thoughts on bioactive cages for those guys?
I wanted to do one. So I wanted to do a bioactive cage with one of them just to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, all my dragons are such monsters when it comes to food. I feel like they would just go through there and just rip up all the isopods and stuff.
Just destroy everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to try one, but at the same time, I don't know how it would. And also with the isopods, I know you got to keep it at a higher humidity than the dragons would like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably try one in one of those glass 40-gallon breeders, just because it's got the screen top, so it'd be a lot more ventilation as far as getting humidity out of it. Because I know if I did it in one of those, that dragon would get an RI and a heartbeat from all the humidity.
Yeah, I think for a breeder, bioactive doesn't make a lot of sense. But for an owner, it might be something fun to do. So let's just say, it's now Ian the owner. You got one dragon and you want to do bioactive. Maybe from what you know, talk about how would you put a bioactive cage together for a bearded dragon? Have you thought through that yet?
I've thought about it. I haven't put too much thought into it just because I knew I wouldn't be able to do it successfully. But I have thought about it, and I would think about I would do a bigger enclosure than the 3x2s. I'd probably do a 4x2 or maybe even a 6x2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would, of course, have the drainage layer and stuff on the bottom. But I wouldn't use dirt or soil. I'd probably use some sort of or pure soil. I'd probably use some sort of dirt, play sand mixture, like probably 50-50, and just mix it all together. And
mix some of that excavator clay in there too to kind of harden it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hey, let me stop you there, Ian. People talk don't use sand because when they eat the cricket, they ingest the sand.
Yeah.
What's your experience on that?
So, first dragon I had from PetSmart, I kept him on sand, and then I kept him on sand for 6 months, and then probably a week before the Greenville show, the first Greenville show that I went to, I switched him over to crushed up walnut shells.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched over to that.
Right.
And then I told Lynn I brought the dragon to the show, of course, carry him around on my shoulder. I was like, look at me, I got a bearded dragon. So I brought him to the show, and I showed Lynn him. She was like, he's in perfect condition, perfect body weight and everything. And so she goes, can I see a picture of your setup? So I was like, yeah. And there was 3 inches of the walnut shell on there. And she was like, what are you doing? So, I told her that. And so then that's when I switched over. Yeah, she was like, yeah, batty. Whenever she does her whenever she does her shows, or whenever she used to do the ReptiCon shows, and they would have like that little 30-minute show where the vendor would go talk to people and like
Yeah,
do a
little
little
presentations.
yeah.
Yeah, always did
So
one.
she would use me as one of the examples of my. She said this little boy came up to
Why
me.
not?
So you see this guy right here?
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So then
That's
I
pretty
switched
funny.
over to using paper towel, newspaper, and on
Yeah.
these melamine cages, I don't even use it. I just use just a plain melamine on the bottom. It's just so much easier. When they poop, I just go through there, wipe it up, take some chlorhexidine, spray it on there, and then wipe it up.
Where do you get your chlorhexidine from?
Amazon. I just buy a big.
I get mine from Tractor Supply Company. If you have a Tractor Supply near you, they sell it too.
Good to
I
know.
got one over in Malden. I get. Where's that?
There's so much cool stuff there, man. There's a bunch of stuff I don't
This
even
right
need.
here?
Yeah, same thing. They sell. It's
Yeah.
the same brand they sell. So
Yeah, so I get a big gallon of that, and this is after 6 months. This is how much I've used. And what I'll do is I've got on my spray bottles. I've got marked in. Let me find it for y'all just to show you.
Hey, so you know what I might do? I don't know a whole bunch about bioactive and bearded dragons. Maybe we'll do just in the show one day. Let's find somebody who's successfully put together a bioactive enclosure for bearded dragons, and maybe we'll do a stream on that.
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I could just read through here. A lot of people are saying no, 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 no. But I do know there are people that are successfully doing it. So
I think it's just it's because they're they will eat plants and stuff like that. It is kind of harder to navigate.
Yeah, it's hard
setting
to
up the
find.
right. So
that'd be the same thing with like doing a bioactive for uromastics. Like they just go through and eat all the they eat all the plants. But with the chlorhexidine,
I know geckos and frogs and all that bioactive makes 100% sense. And even some people do it with snakes.
The chlorhex does smell good. I will say. I recently switched over to chlorhexidine, and it does smell very good, and I like it a lot actually.
I've never even used the what's it called, the F10.
I was using F10 for years, and then it's become very hard to find, and so I ended up switching over to chlorhex, and it's way cheaper for sure, but
yeah, with the chlorhexidine, so I've got these spray bottles you get from the Dollar General for $1, and I've got a black line marked on there.
Cool.
So I'll fill the this into up to the black line, and then I'll fill the rest of it all the way up to the top with water, and it makes like that perfect like blue color.
Yep.
And that's just like a little measurement that I just kind of came up with on my own. Just
that's a trade secret there, Ian. I'm
just from using it. Yeah. It just
share with everybody.
And every time I refill it, I don't have to guess. Or too much or too little. It goes right to that black line. It's just the perfect amount every time.
Yeah. So as far as diet goes, what are you offering as far as ratio of like veggies and stuff to crickets? And then what are there some, because I've been told that you should avoid kale because that's counterintuitive to the the phosphorus and calcium absorption.
Draws the calcium from the bones.
So what are you feeding yours? Yeah.
So I do a mix between. I have a big bowl and I'll just make a big mix of it for the week, and I'll do collard greens, mustard greens, cilantro for the babies because the leaves are so small. They really like and the smell of it. It like attracts them to it. So that's a really good way to get babies eating is
It's a good idea. I've never heard that.
Yeah. So cilantro. I'll occasionally throw some parsley in there. I just recently started doing the what's it called? Bok choy. Bok choy they love bok choy. I think it's escarole. Yeah, escarole. I just recently started using that, and they all seem to like it. So I'm gonna start adding that in there, and then I'll take carrots, like a half-pound bag of carrots, and I'll just shred that up over top of everything. And then I'll shred up like half a butternut squash or half a yellow squash or acorn squash, whatever I've got, and just like mix it all together. So I'll do that. Everybody gets salads every day.
Man, they're eating good.
Everybody gets salads every day. The adults, everybody gets insects every day. I just don't the adults. I just don't give as much as much feeder insects as I do the babies and stuff. So like that one male that I showed you, that first Thailand male, he'll get 10 superworms a day, every single day, plus his salad with the sticky tums, the mineral on there. And all the feeder insects get dusted in this too, so they're getting their double take of calcium. Let's see. I'll occasionally throw some bee pollen in there too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is there any insects you avoid?
Mealworms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do the mealworms just because their exoskeletons a lot harder.
They're very shelly.
Superworms. Yeah. So like it can cause
impaction.
It can cause impaction, but at the same time, I've never seen a dragon get impacted from mealworms. But just as a rule of thumb, I just stay away from them just to be safe. But yeah,
Channy does crickets and black soldier fly larvae, which BSFs are good too, but those will throw on some pounds or I guess grams real fast. Those you want an animal to put on weight. You give them some of those black soldier fly larvae, and it'll happen.
And you have the calcium in them.
That too.
Yeah. And as far as feeder insects go, I do superworms, crickets, dubia roaches, waxworms, black soldier fly larvae, and hornworms. Usually whenever I go to a show, I'll stock up on hornworms so that way they'll hide for a little bit. And then if I can ever find them, silkworms. Those are just so hard to find. But yeah, I've got a breeding colony of dubias. It's one of those big 4-foot black tubs.
Oh, you're breeding your own dubias. Okay, cool. So there's this. I hear it all the time from people at shows. Oh, I heard the story of the superworm got into the animal and ate its way out. I'll never.
I hear that all
Where
the
did
time.
that come from?
I have no clue. I've never had that happen. I had
They're not that super.
Yeah, I had a baby. It was those two Thailand imports, one with the green bars and the one with the blue bars. Those are the two smallest ones I've got right now. But I've had superworms get into enclosures that are like normal size superworms. You get into enclosures of dragons that are smaller than that, and they'll eat the superworm, and where they chomp up their the superworms and crickets and everything so much in their mouth before they even swallow it, it's not going to do anything to them.
No survivors.
No.
Well, I know a superworm, as soon as it takes that hit, it's dead.
Oh yeah.
It's not like you can cut it in half and they both halves live. It's dead. What I think happened, where that came from, my theory, is there was probably an animal that just say died at night, and then the superworm may have crawled inside it, and ate. That they eat stuff, and maybe it just ate its way out. So the owner probably came back and said, "Oh, the superworm killed the animal," when it was the other way around. That's my theory.
It's possible. Who knows?
Yeah. So I've been keeping the dragons and all sorts of different reptiles since 2013. And
wow,
never had anything like that happen.
Okay.
So what else are you working with? You showed me that Euromatrix before we got started. Totally.
Yeah, so
definitely break that one out again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely bring him out. He's neon. You saw him.
So those are some of the coolest lizards, man.
Oh,
People, they're awesome. Euromastics are.
So right now I've got the bearded dragons, leopard geckos. I just sold crested geckos this weekend. I picked up 4 baby Savannah monitors because my fiance she was wanting some. So Billy Albright, me and him were talking. So he was like, hey, go pick through some Savannah monitors, pick out what you like. So I went and picked out what I like. I picked out a really dark one that he said could possibly be xanthic. I picked up one that's banded, and then 2 that've got like really high red.
Nice.
So I picked those up, and then I bought a group of 10 Euromastics this weekend, and
Wow.
I just had them out on the table, and I had them on the table because Carl and Tamara, they were there with their dragons Saturday, but they didn't come. They couldn't come back Sunday, so Mike was like, "Hey, let's put up one of the dragons and the Euromaster there." So I put them up there and had started the weekend off with 10 Euromastics, and now I'm down to 4. So, and that bright red male, somebody asked me if he was for sale. I said, "You got $500?" They're like, "No." I was like, "He's not for sale." Yeah, I'll go grab him while he's out right now.
That's the sentimental value price.
I think between me and you, Justin, we can find $500.
Yeah. I've kept those in the past, man. I love them. That's easily one of my favorite lizards that I've ever kept.
Yeah, there's the
Wow.
And I haven't kept that many lizards, but man, Euros, I'll always have a soft spot for them.
I don't know if that makes it better, but
it's good.
It's just like neon orange all the way around.
The dinosaur tails.
Oh yeah, the tails are.
And fun fact, those actually hurt when they whack you with them. It draws blood.
Did that happen to you, Justin?
Yeah, man. I had one at one point he was like just jet black. And he had some yellow on his back. I think he was a Mali Euro, and he was not a fan of anybody, man. He was his sole mission in life was to end mine. And anytime I went in that cage to do anything, he'd start hissing, and they do this thing where like they start to kind of like wave, and then when you get close, they whack you with the tail. And then, I mean, it's hard and spiky. So, I mean, it's like getting hit with a pine cone, and
really
so he hit me with that, and it drew blood. I mean, it wasn't a ton, but it was like, oh my God.
Billy had some baby ocelot Euromastics this weekend, and we were sitting there playing with one of them. That thing was feisty. He was doing the little worm wiggle, and then he would start tickling him on the. He was about as wide as he was long, and he was a fat little dude. And he'd do the little wiggle, and you poke him on the side, and he'd swing that tail around, and the tail.
They can sling it good, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with the Euromastics, so the males, here's like the difference. So there's a male. There's how he is, nice and neon orange, and that's a female. So like, there's the difference.
Sexually dimorphic.
Yeah, and the females' bellies are always white, and the males are always going to be prettier. So that dimorphism is crazy with the Euros. You don't really see that with the dragons, though.
Yeah,
the dragons are more of like, it is what it is, male or female.
Do you giving the Euros any bird seed or anything like that?
Yeah, I do the safflower.
Okay.
And so safflower and bee pollen granules,
they
really like that. And I give them the same mix of vegetables that I do the dragons.
Yeah, and that's always the species I think of, because a lot of people are sort of under the impression that you have to keep reptiles hot, and I'm more of keep them warm. But like Euros are like the one species where it's like just blast them with heat, and they're gonna do great.
I've got on their cage right now, I've got 150 watt and a right beside each other, and the basking spot's like this far from the. It's like here's the bulbs, and here's the.
They love
tile, and it's like sitting at 100 and measured today. It was like 130, and they just sit there and soak it up.
Me and my buddy joked that like those things could live on the surface of the sun and probably be very content.
Oh, yeah. They'd be perfectly fine with that. Yeah, that male.
What country are they from? The Euromastics. Where do you find them? Where do you find them?
So these guys are from the Saharan deserts. They're red and yellow Saharan Euromastics. The Jerrii, or however you say I'm not too good with those scientific names and everything, but that's them. So they're from the Saharan deserts. Then of course you got the Mali Euromastics, the ocelots, the ornates, the
Egyptians. The Egyptians get huge. The Egyptians are big.
Oh yeah. Those things, I could imagine getting hit by one of them tails when it's got tails as long as a bearded dragon.
Yeah.
It's full of spikes. I could imagine that would hurt.
Yeah, but like North Africa, Middle East sort of
all
area
out there.
Yeah. So Austin asked, have you ever bred chameleons? And if so, was it difficult?
So I had a pair of Jackson's chameleons.
Wow.
Probably 4 years ago now, and they're of course wild caught and everything. And I think the female came in gravid, but she dropped a few babies. She dropped I think 12, but them things are so freaking small. Like they were literally like the size of the tip of my finger. And
it's wild.
I gave them little. I was doing fruit flies and little pinhead crickets, and I just couldn't get them to. I just couldn't get them to throw. I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't do it. They're just the babies are. I like having the adults, but the babies are just too small, too finicky.
I think the answer is yes. It is hard to do, and I do a lot of these shows down in Florida, and you see a lot of the babies come by my table because the breeders will sell the babies, and they'll show me the baby, and they'll say, "What do I feed it?" And I just look like, because I know that poor baby's not going to make it. Yeah. But I do have fruit flies, and I do have pinhead crickets, and I guess some make it. But I mean, I have a lot of respect for people who do breed panther chameleons. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, and I mean, they put their heart and soul into it, and they produce some beautiful animals.
So what are the plans for the rest of the year? You got anything in particular you're going to be focusing on?
Mainly the dragons, the blue bars, the Thailand imports. I'll have a few like pure Thailand import bloodline pairs at the end of this year. Some tangerines, some neon citrus. So that's for the most part. And then I plan on sometime this year building out like a big enclosure with a big water feature and putting some caiman lizards in there.
Yeah,
I was about to buy one today at the show, but I was like, nah.
I think it's the what do they want?
They wanted they wanting $375 for it. They just wanted what they paid for it. So I was like, well, and they were eating good and everything. So I was thinking about it. I thought about it all show, and I was like, I kept telling Cassidy, my fiance, I was like, all right, if I sell one more year, I get to go buy a caiman lizard. And she was like, no. And I was like, all right, well, if I sell, so then I'd sell a euro, but all right, what about now? And she'd be like, no. So I just kept on selling euros and everything. And then I was like, all right, what about now? She was like, I don't care what you do whatever. So I took that as a don't buy it right now.
So I think it's the Jacksonville Zoo that has a really awesome display with some of those in it. That if you're ever down that way, it's they have the whole like Amazon section with they've got like the jaguars and stuff like that, and I remember that very vividly. Like they have just a really big section with those in it, and it's got like a big pool for them to swim in and branches, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I told her, I said if I am going to do the caiman lizard, because to my knowledge, they've never been reproduced in captivity. So I told her, I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I'm just going to go all out, do like something you would see at a zoo, like do it right, and see if I can reproduce them. Because if I could reproduce those that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Ian, do you ever see yourself doing this full time? Would it be possible, in your opinion?
Yeah. I would think so. I just need to. The sales are there. The only thing that I need to work on is the consistency of sales. Like, not to get too much into numbers and everything, but 1 week I'll sell $2,000 in dragons, and then I won't sell anything. Like, I won't have anything else for sale for another 3 weeks. So it's like I need to figure out a way to where I can have stuff for sale, all like something constantly.
Keep stuff in stock.
Yeah, that's what the main thing that I need to work on. But at the same time, I'm just in this room right now. I don't have anything else. It's just this room. So I figure once I'm working on trying to get a building fully insulated and everything. That's what I'm working towards right now, is a building fully insulated, air conditioning, the whole 9 yards, basically like a house but for reptiles. And I feel like once I have that, then I'll more than likely be able to do that full time.
Wow.
So
you were talking about the digital collectibles and the trading cards and all. I mean, I think that if that could be something that helps you make a living out of this,
Yeah.
that would really make me very happy. And I think, we're on the right path, Justin,
Yeah.
by pursuing this, because we need to help all the Ians that are out there, because there's not a lot of you, and it's passion. It's great work. There aren't many people that are willing to put that much work into it, and it's weird. It's the same story. Everybody I hear it is they see their first animal and they're hooked right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gradual process. It's like a switch.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
on and
balls
off.
to the wall. You get one dragon, next thing you know, you got 30.
I know. I know. So yeah, but we need to do our parts to help you out, man. And so I think I can't talk a lot about it right now, but I mean, I told you what my thoughts are. So we're as we pursue this, I'll talk to you more about it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. It seems
Uh,
like it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
See, we need to get Will there at P3.
Mm.
Yeah.
He needs to make him a ReptiCart account when he has some stuff for sale.
Yeah. Hey, Will.
Making it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you reach out to, is that it, Will at P3? And we'll do a show for you, man.
Do you have a herpetology degree?
Does anybody?
No. I went to technical school for welding, and I got my pipe welding certificates in welding, so that's what I do now.
Guarantee you make more money doing that than you would with a herpetology degree.
It's definitely, it's fun. It's just you're working. It's not.
Yeah.
It's working.
So Will has one.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. I mean, it's breeding season right now for a lot of the stuff he works with. I know that. So within the next couple months, yeah, he's in Columbia. He's here in South Carolina too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've done an hour and almost a half. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Where can people reach out to you if they're interested in some dragons?
So I've got my Facebook page, Carolina Royal Dragons, and then I've got my Instagram account, which is everything that I post on Instagram goes to.
Thank you,
it
Eric.
automatically uploads on Facebook. So my Instagram account's Carolina_Royal_Dragons, and that's where I do most. I'll post on there and everything. On Facebook, I go on there, but I need to get better about checking my messages and stuff on there. But the main thing is on Instagram.
Okay.
And then obviously ReptiCart and
yeah. So you'll be on Facebook and ReptiCart. Are you on Morph Market at all? Anywhere there?
Yeah, I'm on Morph Market.
Okay.
That's at Carolina Royal Dragons too. And then I've got a fauna account. I post on fauna, but I feel like fauna's starting to die off, especially with how big.
Well, they got rid of the BOI threads, man.
Yeah,
that was. We all went there for the entertainment.
I'd go in there and just look at conversations for hours.
Yeah.
And just
grab your popcorn and just watch the show.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Something like that needs to come back.
Then they made the paywall and they took away all the fun.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, and
no problem. Appreciate having it on.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, definitely get in touch, and be sure to follow ReptiCart and Repticon on Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. ReptiCart.com. Check it out.
All right, Ian. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank y'all for having me on. That was fun.
All right.
Have a great night, y'all.
All right.
Later.
All right. See you.